In my previous video, I talked and showed about some of the questions that Simon Bennett, the executive producer from Power Rangers, has been getting about Once and Always, and I kind of wanted to continue with this one on. There's a lot to kind of go over, so that's the reason why I have part 2, but so far, I am really liking some of the questions that Simon has been asking, and I kind of want to share and show them with everyone who wants to watch. Anyway, let's continue on with this. Let's jump over and continue our Twitter reading. Bryn, our Zenkai daddy, says, "You should be proud of your effects team, Simon. They have provided the best instant morph in the history of Power Rangers." And I will say, I actually kind of really like the instant morph. Normally we've seen it and it's like straight away, but I kind of like this one. And I think that we could easily have this a bit more. Simon responds, "I am, and I despair whenever anyone accuses the VFX as being lazy. I know how much time and care is put into this, and every single time that we've seen some of the visual effects, they've been fantastic. I absolutely love them. So yeah, I'm really excited about this." Irul Burt, I hope I got your name right, says, "Simon, do we have an estimated date for when Cosmic Fury drops?" Simon responds, "As been previously announced, fall." Bert goes, "So I'm assuming around September, October. Take it we're still in post-production." Still in post, just finished episode 3. So that was only like, say, the April 21st. Recording this is on the 22nd of April. So obviously when this comes out, it's going to be a lot like a little bit later on. But it's kind of cool knowing how far we are in in Cosmic Fury right now. So onwards and upwards. Josh Living Ranger Key says, 12 days, yo. The film major in me is super impressed and blown away. Now I love it even more. With this being that Simon said, "We didn't have time to make one as the shoot was so brief and the cast so professional. There weren't any usable bloopers. A blooper reel usually comes after 8 months of filming a season, and we had 12 days for Once and Always." Simon goes, "To be fair, there were 2 units shooting across those 12 days. Josh replies, "Figured that had to be the case. Still shocks me though. We had assumed it was at least a month." A normal 22-minute episode is filmed over 3 days. Once and Always was planned as a double episode length. Its 55-min duration is because we were allowed to run long because Netflix. So 12 days is much longer than usual for Power Rangers. Still very tight though. Josh responds, "When broken down like that, it makes a lot more sense. I find this super fascinating since it's the line of work I want to go into, so thank you for being so transparent about it. I love that. I can only imagine how stressful it must get at times with that schedule." Simon, "Oh yes." Josh responds, "Especially with O&A, since even though you had more time than usual for a 2-episode size production, you had a lot more to shoot due to not using Sentai footage for it." Simon responds, "Very true." Josh responds, Did the no Sentai factor besides Zords mean that Cosmic Fury got a little more time, or was it on the same schedule? I know you filmed a lot of original footage for Dino Fury, as it was, so I assume it was mostly the same short of schedule for Cosmic Fury. Simon responds, "No, it was the same schedule." Josh responds with, "Well, congrats on all the hard work. Cosmic Fury has me the most excited for a new season in like a decade, just because it seems so fresh. Can't wait to see it this fall." Ben Riley asks, "I assume the green car for Tommy and the blue bike for Rocky." Simon responds, "Tommy wasn't there and Rocky teleported in. Action figure man, so no discussion on Robo Rita or the events in O&A in Cosmic Fury." Simon responds, "As I said, completely separate in the fact the stories for Cosmic Fury were plotted out before Once and Always was a thing." So that's actually interesting because a few people have been wanting, say, Zed to kind of form a plan or something like that. So I didn't realize that this was set, like, this hadn't been thought of until, after Cosmic Fury and stuff like that. So that's very interesting. So yeah, that's really interesting. I really kind of like that. PR Cam says, "Why couldn't the Morphing Masters step in?" This is a response to Simon quote tweeting a while ago. "Her body was vaporized. This moment was originally more explicit, but we cut it back in edit out of respect for Trini's memory. An earlier version of the script was also demorph the Rangers, finding Trini's body along with her morpher on the beach below." Simon responds, "Because then we wouldn't have a story." Tripod Scorpion asks, "I was wondering why they were looking over the cliff. If she was vaporized, this makes sense, and I kind of prefer it this way. Don't like the idea of them finding her. One thing though, how did they find her morpher? Would that have not just been destroyed too?" Again, this is responding to the whole Trini thing. And it says here, Simon responds, morphers are pretty resilient. I expect they retrieved it from the beach below the cliff. Tripod Scorpion says, fair enough, I was wondering about JJ actually. I know he was the only mention in passing, but how old is he in Once and Always? And there was no kind of anything else after that. Simon didn't respond. Now, I would imagine that morphers are very resilient for the amount of time the Rangers get hurt and stuff like that. But I think for me personally, if they were going to show that, then I would have liked to see the morpher on the ground somehow and the camera zooming out and then fading to black. I think that would have been a perfect way of doing it. Henshin Oja Brin, aka Henshin Asset, aka Zenkai Daddy, says, oh my god, Kat is right. All those awesome featured in the new command center and they forgot the viewing globe. Maybe next time, Simon? So there are a few things that were said. Fabulous Prince of Eternia says, the viewing globe is there. I was in the background. It was in the background of a shot. I think Kat was talking when they showed it, but I'm not positive. Zenkai Daddy says, mind you, I think this adds to the lore of Zordon. He often used it, so it made sense that it wouldn't be used much without him. Alpha 5 Gone also ties in with that. Simon responds, the sets were all designed and earlier versions of the script, which had different stories. The sets took 3 months to build. The viewing globe featured in earlier scripts, but not in the shooting draft, which was written 2 weeks before filming started. It also adds, rather than remove the viewing globe, we kept it because it added to the aesthetic feel on set. Basically, the VG is a magical device, whereas the Cranston Technology screens were monitoring security camera feeds, and we saw that when it said camera 1 and camera 2. Zenkai Daddy says, oh cool, makes it even more awesome as a relic of the past. Hank Robertson says, Simon, please, gag reel, please! Simon responds, we didn't have time to make one. Also, the shoot was so brief and the cast was so professional, there weren't any usable bloopers. A blooper reel usually comes after 8 months of filming a season, and we had 12 days for Once and Always. And Hank responds with, thank you, Simon. At Then Morphing says, Simon, Mr. Bennett, thank you for Once and Always, but can you explain to us what the SPA for Adam and Aisha? Please, thank you very much. Simon responds with, Space Patrol Alpha. It was only ever meant as a tiny Easter egg, foreshadowing SPD. Which then Morphing responds, Mercy, which is thank you. So yeah, like I think we've talked about SPA quite a lot, and I'm kind of glad that it's in there because again it is tying everything in there, so we know exactly what's going on in Space Patrol Alpha. J Wolf Wars 210 replies to Simon's comment, my only gripe, why no recap? It just threw the audience in like we're on season 6. How did the others get back together? Where did the power coins come from? How did the chamber get rebuilt? It would have been nice to see all of that happen and relive old memories while reuniting. Simon responds, if we've been given another half an hour's duration, another 8 days of shooting, then maybe. And there is all the interesting questions that we've had people ask Simon, and Simon's been able to respond. I absolutely love the fact that Simon responds to a majority of all these questions. I absolutely love it. I think it is the best thing that we can hear, and we get to interact and ask certain questions. Now, obviously, a load more people will ask more and more questions over time as they see Once and Always, and hopefully I'll be able to make more videos talking about this because I feel like people need to know all about this in case they missed it, because I missed a ton of these without having looking. So I'm really glad that we're able to kind of ask Simon these questions and actually interact and actually get some kind of closure on some things and kind of like theorize and talk about. So I'm gonna leave it there. If you like this sort of content, hit the like button, hit subscribe, turn on all notifications, and leave a comment. And if you want to check out the channel memberships, that would be grand. Anyway, I am gonna leave it there. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. I want to say a big thank you to all my Patreon supporters, and I wanted to shout out Kimono Cat. Your help does go a long way to support the channel. And if you want to consider helping the channel, then links to my Patreon as well as the channel members are listed below.
あらあら、チャンネルをサポートしてくれてありがとうございます。チャンネル登録、高評価お願いします。